Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. We had little technical difficulties there, but it's well worth the wait. We are joined by the legendary Mr. Ron Mother Rucker today, and as far as I know, he's done a few interviews, newspaper-wise, and stuff on the internet you can find from his local papers. But I believe this is his first one, and it's quite the honor to be hosting this gentleman on his birthday, no less. So let's all wish Mr. Ron a happy birthday right off the bat. And as y'all, yes, sir. As y'all know, he's literally mentioned in every single LRRP book there is. I can just hold up all the ones that I have handy. And I'll list all of those for y'all if y'all don't have them, but most of y'all have them because y'all keep up reading. But we're going to jump into this. We're not going to hold Mr. Ron too long on his birthday, but we're just glad he's here to join us. So we're going to get started and find out a little bit about his backstory, and we'll get into Vietnam here. And excuse me with my voice and my nasaliness and all that. I'm getting over a bad cold. So, Mr. Ron,
that happens to the best of us.
Unfortunately so. I'm quite prone to them, so I'm fighting it off as hard as I can. When we first spoke, I believe our maybe first or second time, we always ask not only when and where you were born, but we also like to ask about family military history, if you had any family military history.
Yeah. I was born in Valley Park, Missouri. That's a suburb on the Merrimack River. It's a suburb of southwest St. Louis. About 9 or 10 months after my dad got back from World War II. Does that tell you anything? Yeah, Dad was a career Air Force. He was in World War II in Korea and retired in 1964.
Wow. And I can imagine. Well, I can't imagine because everybody was different. Did you grow up hearing about the war? Did he speak to you about it growing up?
He didn't talk much about it, but when he would go to the SEAL Club sometimes, he would meet up with a couple of his buddies and he'd bring them home. And when they brought them home, I used to listen in.
Oh, man, I bet those were some good ones, especially getting back from the NCO Club.
Well, it's just like everything else when you tell them war stories, you try not to talk about the bad stuff. You always remember the humorous stuff, and that's what most of it is. He never did talk about, really. Never did hear him say anything about anybody getting killed, except he might say a plane got lost or something, or so-and-so's plane went down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
They were always talking about funny stuff they did, like making a still with all canned fruit and stuff like that. You know.
Those are some of the best stories.
I remember one he told that they used to, close to the end of the war, they got transferred from England to the Pacific and switched over from B-24s and B-17s to B-29s. And he said Thursday went to Aleutians, and then they went to some island, Guam or Wake or someplace like that. And he said that they would go on their bombing missions over Japan and stuff, and when they would be flying back, they would save they had these little bottles of Coke that they would be drinking, and they would take their old razor blades and stick them in the neck. And when they were flying back over these outposts that the Japanese had, he said he'd put them in his chute for emptying his ammo out and let them go down. And he said they made a hell of a racket going down, and it just drove them crazy. He did. Said all the airplanes did that.
And he was he with the Strategic Air Command, you said?
Yeah. World War II, he was with the 8th Air Force, and then it became Strategic Air Command.
Wow.
The Army Air Corps became the Air Force, and then the Strategic Air Command was formed, and he went straight to that, and he stayed in that until he retired.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine. Did you mention, though, that he had anything to do with Vietnam, or did he get out long before Vietnam?
He got out in 1964, but they were flying air refueling missions. He was a tail gunner in World War II in Korea, and then after Korea, they went to air refueling, and he was a boomer, and he was over there one time. Are you still there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Well, I lost your picture.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you froze up a little bit on us, but we hear you. Well, we were. Oh, hell. Hold tight, everybody. His backyard's been giving us trouble on signal.
You back?
There you are. Yep, we got you.
Yep. Okay. Where was I? He was a boomer. Then he retired in 64. And I went in the Army in 65.
Wow. Geez. So literally mom gets the husband back full time, and then you're off to Vietnam, or off to the Army, I should say, inevitably. Yeah. Vietnam, of course.
Yeah.
Was it always the Army for you? Did you not think of the Marine Corps or any other branch? Was it
No,
always...
I wanted to go in the Army because there was two reasons I wanted to go in the Army. One of them was a movie that I saw. Earl Flynn come out in a movie that was called Operation Burma, and I saw that when I was a kid. Excuse me. And it was a group from the 503rd platoon that was sent into Burma to knock out a Japanese radar station, and they parachuted in, and they were commandos. So I got that in my mind. And then in 1953 or 54, they were having a field problem in Louisiana, a big one, in the whole Army and Air Force. And one of the 325, I don't remember if it was the first or third or the second or one. Anyway, they jumped out at Barksdale Air Force Base where we were living, right between the runways for that field problem. And I told my dad, I want to do that. He looked at me like, you're crazy. And that's what I did. It just took me a while to get where I wanted to be.
Wow. And you mentioned you joined in 65. Where did you head off for basic training?
Oh, naturally, Fort Polk.
Fort Polk. All right. And
in August of 65, and it was hot, and we had a hurricane down there while I was there, Camille.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think it was Camille.
I think so. I'm only familiar with the ones that hit down here. We had our hands full, but geez, South Carolina at Fort Polk must have been a nightmare in August with the heat and humidity.
Fort Polk is not in South Carolina. Fort Polk is not in South Carolina. It's in Louisiana.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I had a brain fart. Wow.
Yeah, it's south. It's about 100 miles southeast of me, or southwest. No, southwest of me.
South Carolina. I was thinking of Fort Jackson. Jesus.
I'm a coon.
Yeah, yes, sir. Do you end up becoming a RTO in Vietnam? Were you what was your primary MOS when you went off for AIT and such?
Oh, I went to signal school. And then I was in radio relay in the 82nd Airborne Division, B Company. And that's Johnny Quick and I went to jump school together, and then went to the 82nd together, and we're in the same platoon, the same company, in the 82nd and the 101st.
Jeez.
Every time the orders got cut, they cut orders that was RU and QU. Our names fell out right next to each other.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And there you all end up in Vietnam together like that. Where was signal school at?
Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Fort Gordon. All right.
I went to signal school at Fort Gordon, Georgia. What happened to half of my picture?
I do not know.
Very good. Okay, got it. I got it. I'm back with you. Went to signal school at Fort Gordon, Georgia, and then went to jump school. They tried to screw me out of jump school because I told the recruiter I wanted to go to jump school and be a commando, and he just thought I was full of shit, I guess, because he just sent me U.S. Army unassigned. And when I was in basic training, I said, "Am I going to AIT, airborne AIT?" And they said, "No, you're not airborne." I said, "I told the recruiter," so I went right straight across the parade ground and enlisted in the jump program. Went to the airborne recruiter, took the PT test, passed it with flying colors, and off to jump school. So I'm sitting there at Fort Gordon in a holding company after signal school, and they said, "Well, here's orders to Germany." I said, "Oh no, I'm waiting for jump school." So they got researched it back and they said, "Well, you do get to go to jump school." What I didn't know is I could have went to jump school in Germany and went to the LRRPs there. I should have went that way, but I ended up in the 82nd Signal Battalion, and then a year and a half in the 82nd, and I hated it. All we did was train, and I guess I hated it because I got in trouble there my first year or so. We got levied to the 101st when they were reinforcing the 101st for the division to go over. In June of 67, I went to Fort Campbell, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me while I was in the Army. It's getting away from the 82nd because I did nothing but I got in trouble there, and I got details the rest of the time I was there.
Wow, man!
But I got some good training out of it. I'm gonna tell you, I got some good training out of it.
And what? Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Got a 38-day field trip to Puerto Rico. That's good training.
Man, I did not realize you were in so early back in 65 and such as that.
I'm an old fart. I'll be 80 years old next year. I just turned 79 today.
Wow. Looking good, and still memory still sharp as a tack. You gotta be thankful for that.
It is, and I was taking some stuff to help my memory, and I quit taking it, and it's still, my memory's good. But when after that lightning strike, I did not remember for a long time even talking on the radio after that. I guess my mind just blocked it out. All I could remember was looking at my hand and seeing it crumpled up like it was because of the lightning strike, making it contract, and I could see past it, and I had depth perception, but everything was in different shades of gray. And that's what I remember. I don't remember talking on the. I do now, because everything's improved. One of the best things that ever happened was Gary writing those books, because he wrote them from a bunch of letters that he sent his fiancee at that time, Barbara, who's still his wife, over 200 letters. And she kept them all, and that was the basis of his book. So he's chronologically got it right on, and he did an excellent job.
He did. He broke, especially. I'm
gonna tell you, when I read, I've only read his books one time because that's all I read them because I was there. And there's little things that I differ with him on, a couple little minor things, but when I'm reading them, I see it in my mind's eye exactly what he's writing because I was there. I see it. And it's really, that's how I read books. I mean, I see it in my mind's eye when I'm reading them, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with you being there and a part of so much of this. I mean, I can't imagine. Like you said, one reading one time's more than enough. Wow. When you got to Fort Campbell and hooked up with the 101st, what was going on at that time? Were you doing any type of training, or what was going on?
We were training, and we jumped. They kept us jumping, training, and then we started filling the Connaxes and stuff for the division move over, and we left on June 6th and arrived on June 6th. We left from Fort Campbell, landed in Elmendorf, Alaska in a snowstorm, and Yokota, Japan, and then Benoit, Vietnam.
Wow. Landed in Benoit. And
that was December 6th of 1967. And I was in the B Company of the Signal Battalion. I started, I call it island hopping. I was fire base jumping. And then Tet started, I was on top of Nui Ba Ra. And they took us off there and sent us back to Benoit. We got attacked at Nui Ba Ra. And then they sent us back to Benoit. And that night, Tet started. And we was on the perimeter for Tet for a couple of days. And then I don't know how long it was after that. They sent me down with the advance party. We headed off to Fubai. And we were at Fubai, and at GLA is what it was called. That was a little Marine outfit that was just outside of Fubai, across the street and down the street from CCN. And that's where we were. And then the LRRPs had already been out there at that time, and were securing and overwatching where was going to be the base, where was going to be Camp Eagle. And I think the first place I got sent, no, it wasn't the first place. Where was the first place I went? I don't know. I went to some little ville. And then I went to the 1st of 27th Marines. I got attached to them because we were sharing an AO, area of operations. So I did communications back between the 1st of 27th Marines headquarters, which was at a old schoolyard up there off Highway 1, across on the other side of the Highway 1 towards the coast. I was with them for 30 or 35 days, and that was a pisser.
damn.
I've never seen such. These guys, this was a reserve unit from San Diego that they had thrown in to reinforce Way, and the Marines that were fighting, taking the Citadel and everything back. And these guys made at their headquarters where the schoolhouse was. I can't set this up for you, but it's a long road. A dike road goes right out across the rice paddies. About a mile down the road is A Company on a little island, like at a little house. And they got their perimeter set up there. And we're at the church right here. And behind us is a tree line, just about 15 feet out from the perimeter, all the way around and down. And they'd snipe at us every night from there. We lived in the bunkers. And behind the schoolhouse, our perimeter, when I walked around there and saw that, I liked their crap. They had about 10 feet between the back of the schoolhouse and a creek. And they had their bunkers in between the schoolhouse and the creek, pointing across the creek to a bamboo thicket that was about 20 feet away.
Jesus.
I just could not believe that when I saw that. And on the other side of the perimeter, they had a tank and a non-toes, and a tank and a non-toes, and a tank and a non-toes. And the North Vietnamese or VC would get over here, and they would shoot a rocket at an angle, and if it didn't hit one, it would hit the next one. If it didn't hit that one, it would hit the other one. That was a hoot.
I mean, that's crazy being attached to the Marines.
There was a lot of crazy stuff going on over there at that time. They put me in for the Soldier's Medal. When we were getting ready to go to Vietnam, the 101st gave us a little booklet that had Vietnamese sayings and stuff in it, and some of their customs and stuff. Well, I got into it, and I didn't know what I was saying, but I thought I could speak a little bit. But the Marines needed some ice. You couldn't drink the ice. You couldn't use the ice over there for anything but cooling stuff off, because it was unpotable water that they used. So I went with them because I could bick a little of their lingo, and I went in and we was at the ice house. It was secure then, and they had just secured the Citadel, and The 101st was starting to move out towards LZ Sally and that way, where they were going to set it up. And I bartered with the guy, and I remember seeing somebody in there that had fatigues on, just in the back of my mind. Well, I bartered with him, and we got the ice, loaded it in the back of the truck. And I jumped in the back of the truck, and we rolled about 2 feet, and the fucking ice house blew up.
Oh.
I mean, it just, fire, ammonia, everything everywhere. We stopped immediately. I mean, I looked at them, and I remembered the fatigues. And I said, I think there's a GI in there. And I had a M16 at the time. And I said, can you operate this? He said, yeah. I said, cover me, and threw it at a Marine. And I ran in there. And as soon as I ran in, I hit the ammonia. And it just got in my lungs and in my sinuses, and everything just came out. I had snot hanging from my nose and my mouth down to the ground. And I cleared it away. And there was a Vietnamese that went like this, and he had a towel. He was a Vietnamese Army guy, and he threw me the towel. He wet it, and I threw it over he wet it in that nasty creek. I threw it over my mouth, and I ran back in there. And I brought out an old man that was in the sampan hat, and he had the same thing. And I cleared the snot away from him. That gags me every time I think about it, but this time it didn't. I cleared the snot away from him, got his airway cleared, and the Vietnamese guy took him over towards where the other Marines were, and I went back in there. And on the third trip, there was other people in there too, and we found the guy that I had been talking to, and he was standing next to the ammonia tank when it blew, and we had to put him on a door and brought him out, and he was literally turned inside out. That is one of the most horrible things that I have ever seen in my whole life. That's etched into my mind, and I'll never forget it. And I didn't think anything of it after that. I gathered after we brought him out, and everybody seemed secure, and the Vietnamese Army and police was there. And we left and went back. And I didn't think nothing of it. And we're sitting. A little while later, I get sent back to Camp Eagle, the B Company, Iowa 1st, and I'm laying there in my rack.
Hang on just a second, y'all. He'll pop back up. He's his phone is intermediate with connection.
Back.
There you are.
Okay, I don't know what happened that time. Okay, so I'm laying in my rack, and damn, first sergeant comes in. He says, Rucker, what did you do when you was with the Marines? And I said, I just did my job, first sergeant. He said, getting clean fatigues, report to the battalion commander. So, oh, shit. Here it goes. I thought I did something wrong. I hadn't a clue. I figured, well, I wonder what I did. So I got my fatigues on. I'm going up there, and I can hear the first sergeant walking right behind me. We get up there. The battalion commander, Sergeant Major, says, Rucker. I reported to him. He said, Rucker, what did you do with the Marines? I said, I just did my job. Report to the battalion commander. So I went in and I reported to him. They're standing behind me. Rucker, what'd you do with the Marines? I just did my job, sir. And I can hear them snickering now behind me. He said, well, I got these 5 letters here. I said, oh, shit. He says, son, did you know you've been put in for the soldier's medal? I said, what's that? He says, only the highest medal for valor in the United States Army in a non-combat situation. I said, really? He said, yes, sir. Is there anything we can do for you? I said, you can approve my 1049 to the LRRPs across the street. I've already talked to Sergeant Champion, and he's got a home for me in Como. Are you serious? I'm serious as a heart attack, sir.
Wow.
3 hours later, I was across the street in the LRRPs.
That is crazy. Jeez. Jeez. So, I mean, oh, man, dang it. Dang, getting a soldier's medal like that and then literally asked, there you are.
Yeah. I'm back.
Jeez. And I mean, literally no problem. You were able to 1049 straight over with that?
I had already put in, see, at that time they had put out a memo that they needed RTOs and people to reinforce the LRRP unit. And I wanted to go the whole time and never got a chance to get there. Well, Johnny Quick was already over there because he went from the Signal Battalion to over there. And so he started talking to Sergeant Champion, and I had me at home. So I was there 3 hours later.
Jeez, that's one of the cooler ways and most interesting ways we've heard of guys getting into
So see, it
the
took me all that. That's where I wanted to be when I went in the Army, and it took me all that time around to get there, but I got there.
Well,
I got there in August of '68. I went into the LRRPs and was there till July '69.
August of '68. Wow. No. This is gonna kill me if we lose him. I'm afraid it. There we go. There you are.
Yeah, I keep losing you, but I got it down pat how to get you back now.
Wow, that is August. Good question, Jed. I'm about to bring that up when he comes back.
I think I'm touching something on this phone that's doing it, so I'm gonna put my hand down here in one place and not touch it.
Hands in your pockets. Were the LRRPs that you were coming into joining at this point, was it F Company or was it the 101st Brigade LRRPs at this time?
But I want to tell you something. There was never a 101st LRRPs. It was 1st Brigade LRRPs, and when they got to Song Bay, they became F Company 58th Infantry LRRPs when Tet started. And there was a time in between there where nobody knew what they was in the company. They wasn't sure what their name was, and they just called themselves Division LRRPs. There was not a 101st Division LRRPs. It was 1st Brigade LRRPs, then F-58th, because F-58th was the cadre from the Reconnaissance School at Fort Campbell.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning literally I'm writing all this down. Learning completely.
They were the cadre from the Reconnaissance School and Ranger School.
Oh, damn! Wow. Did when you first checked in, so to speak, was there a in-country LRRP school that you had to go through before you were quote unquote put on a team or accepted, so to speak?
No, I didn't. I immediately, let's see, the first couple of days I was there, they checked me in. I got all my equipment. We got it packed. Taught me how to make it quiet and all that. We got me all squared away. And then we went through, I had a day or two of commo procedures with Sergeant Champion and Sergeant Souls and a couple of the other guys. And then I went on a radio relay with the Spec 4 and the E5 and come to find out I was a PFC and I was the team leader. And then after that, I made Spec 4 right after that, and then E5. And sometime before I went home on leave, October 15th, Johnny Quick got killed. He died the last of September or the first part of October of '68. Because I went home on leave October 15th, and we had planned, because he was going home, we had planned to meet at my house and party a little bit. And when I came home, I asked the guy in the hooch, did Johnny get home all right? And that's when he had a sick look on his face. He said, nobody told you? I said, told me what? He said, Johnny's dead. And it just knocked me down. And then I found out what happened. And we had torn a dollar bill in half at jump school. and said, we're going to meet after all this is over with and drink a beer. Fat chance of that. Anyway, I was in the commo unit. I was in the commo section, and I went out on my first mission before I went home on leave in October, because I went out with Lou Anders as a junior scout, and we got in contact on that mission. That was my first alert mission. It was my first contact, and Lopez Point. I don't remember who all else was on the team. Somebody told me they was, but I can't remember who it was. I think it was Coleman. And but we got in contact on that mission, and I heard the enemy. We were going up this ridge. Listen to this. We're going up this ridge, and I'm junior scout, so I'm back in the back by the assistant team leader. He's bringing up the rear, and I'm kind of watching him and listening off both sides, and he's securing our back trail. And we're going up this ridge, and we stop for a second, and I hear over on the right, this other ridge, I hear some NVA walking and talking. So I looked at Lou Anders and I said, I got his attention. He looked at me. I said, this is what I did. I pointed to myself. I pointed to my ear, pulled my eye back, indicating the enemy walking and talking over there without saying a word. He looked at me and he went, oh, okay, like that. This is my first mission. So they were still feeling me out. So we walk up the hill about another 30 or 40 yards, and they open up on us with an RPK. And Lou Anders is up there, and I see this teak tree right there. He's stepping across the teak tree, and this shower of bullets comes right around the teak tree. There's pieces flying everywhere, and he's going, brrr. And I'm looking at this leaf that's right here by my head, and there's a hole appears through it. Just that quick. That's stuck in my mind. It ain't never going to leave. It's stuck in my mind. But Lou threw a grenade, and then we did immediate action drill, and we went down the hill. And we found a big ass teak tree that had fallen across the trail. And Lou said, "Turn around." And I turned around. And he took a claymore out of my rucksack, put an 8-second delay fuse in it. We stuck it down at the bottom of that teak tree. Everybody else was already over the tree. He boosted me over the tree. I pulled him over the tree, and we hauled ass. I didn't see Lou until 1986. And I'm going into the reunion there at Fort Campbell. And I recognized him right off the bat. And I hollered, Lou, and he wasn't sure who it was. And after we started talking, I reminded him of the mission. And I said, Lou, did that claymore ever go off? He said, yeah. I said, I never heard it. My adrenaline was going so bad. Everything was pumping. I couldn't hear a damn thing except my heart in my ears.
Holy cow. What a first op. Jesus.
That was my first alert mission. But I'd already done some good before then. I did good on radio relay just before then. We were up on Nui Key and doing a radio relay. And I'm up there and I've got the starlight scope. And I don't remember who was up there with me. There was 2 other guys up there with me, and there was an infantry squad that had the top of it secured. And I'm looking out towards I guess it's towards the coast. It was the free fire zone. And I look down and I see something white moving through the jungle down there. And I got to looking at it, and it was a lady, and she was wearing that long white dress with the slit up the side and one of the sampan hats and the long white pants underneath. And I got to looking, and there was about a squad of NVA in front of her and a squad of NVA behind her. She must have been somebody's girlfriend, but they were headed straight from the rung for Fubai. So I called in artillery, and they called me back, and they said, negative on artillery. We have a couple fast movers in the area. The coordinates, and I sat there, and we all sat there, and I can't remember who it was with me, but we were waiting, and we heard these 2 jets fly over, and they ways up there, and they just flew over. And then a few seconds after that, about a couple thousand feet, we heard pop, 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 pop. And then that whole grid square lit up, cluster bombs. Man, I mean, that whole area down there where they were lit up. They saturated that whole area with cluster bombs. That was just, and they was headed right straight for Rung. So I've always thought in the back of my head that maybe that was Colonel Mott's girlfriend.
Wow.
He was commander of the 5th NVA regiment out there, I believe, unless I'm wrong. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. Gary seems to think so. He mentions him in the book quite a bit about y'all trying to get after him, or at least his men, so to speak.
That's what Gary and I was home on leave, but that's what the November 20th mission was all about. They thought they got him that day, but I don't know if they did or not. But this was before then. This was before November 20th because I was home on leave then when November 20th. I found out about November 20th on the news. It made stateside news.
Holy crap.
I told my dad, I got to get going. I got to get back. That's my unit.
Man.
It was time for me to come back anyway.
Wow. So you ran that first mission before you went home on leave, and then immediately got back and were right in the mix of things, staying busy, running missions all throughout. Were you back on radio relay or strictly running operations?
I got you.
Oh,
there we go. Okay. No, after November 20th, we didn't do a whole lot of missions. There was just a few because later in November, all of December, we were socked in. That was bad weather, rain. And so we were rebuilding and reestablishing. We got a whole bunch of newbies. Right.
Dang. He must have hit. I think he keeps hitting, excuse me, accidentally hitting leave studio. The way it pops off and then he's able to pop back on, I think he's accidentally hitting either the side of his phone and depowering it or turning off the screen. There he goes.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what was I saying? That was
after November 20th.
We stood down because we were reinforcing everybody through December, and mostly I'll tell you, we pulled a lot of ambushes across the perimeter during that time because that's basically what we was doing because it was socked in. No teams could go out and come in because of the bad weather. And then Gary came back in January from the hospital, and that's when they teamed me up with him, and we got a new team leader in, instant NCO that went to Ranger School, and then they made him E6, Clausen. And they put us with him to break him in. And he was a fine team leader. He was. He could call in some artillery, I'm going to tell you. Wow. He was good at that. He impressed me. Of course, if you read Gary's books, you understand how he impressed us.
Absolutely. Mr. Gary's and Mr. Larry Chambers' books, Mr. Clausen spoken very highly of. Very.
Yeah, he is. He was a good team leader.
What were your initial impressions since you were at this point in time, you weren't technically an old head, but you were somewhat new, but what's it like when that first batch of new guys come in?
When I came into the company, I already had 6 or 7 months in country.
Technically, you were an old head then. Yeah. Wow.
I came into the company. Already. Yeah, I already had over 6 months in country when I came to the company. So I took to it pretty good. And I went out on missions and stuff. Then we got these other guys, and then it was just a learning process through the whole thing. I never did get to go to Reconnaissance school. They had more guys that had more time behind me that were going because they knew that when I left Vietnam, I was being out of the Army. And I didn't know it at the time, but I couldn't re-enlist because of the trouble I got in at Fort Bragg. And so I didn't find that out till I went to re-enlist over in Vietnam. They told me, well, you can't re-enlist unless there's a declared war. So what kind of deal is that?
That's
they don't even tell you. So after the war, I mercenaried myself to the Baton Rouge City Police Department for almost 8 years for the adrenaline surge. And I was good at what I did. I was a detective working armed robbery, and I was on the SWAT team and on the pistol team.
Damn. Wow.
I just burned my candle at both ends and in the middle until I burned myself out.
Man, oh man. Wow. When I was curious about reading one of, and I'm blanking on if I think both Mr. Gary and Larry Chambers cover it. Were you on that mission? Did y'all find that big old cave that y'all end up trying to blow up and then end up literally demolishing it to the ground?
Yeah, Zochak. Zochak was the team leader on that. That was up on the Song Boat. Okay. We had Gary and I had been in that area several times. And I think we were fixing to come out or something. And they ended up, Loach saw a cave up this creek up not far from where we was. So they started putting other teams in, and we ended up with a reinforced team with, I think it was 24 guys, something like that. 18 or 24. And that's when Pinchansky accidentally shot Rainier in the leg with an M79 buckshot round. And yeah, we had to walk up that creek, and that was I hated that because that was just straight up on both sides with thin vegetation, and we were just petting ducks. So we had to walk up there it was up to about our knees, I guess, is how deep it was. But we had to walk right up the middle of it to get where the cave was. Helicopter had seen a footprint by a cave. So we get up there, and we're spread out around the place, doing a perimeter. Zochak was the team leader. Zochak was a good team leader. He's a great guy. He takes the C4, and he figures out how much we need, places it in there, goes back, squats on a rock, it blows up. Nothing happens. I said, okay, I'll fix that. So he takes the rucksack full of C4, dumps it all in there, goes back, sets his fuse, goes back, sets on the rock. That hill went off. The whole damn hill collapsed back down on top of that hole. And Zochak was out there in the middle of the damn, it was a little open spot, in the creek. And he's out there on a rock squatting. We looked he wasn't there. We thought he got vaporized. He comes up out of the water just laughing his ass off. It blown him off the rock backwards. And where I was watching that ridge collapse all the way around to about 30 feet from where I was. That whole damn ridge came down on top of that. So we did what we were supposed to do. I think we probably cut off the water supply for down there for a while too.
Damn.
Yeah, he just lit up that whole bag of C4. I guess that's what he did because the whole damn ridge come down.
We had a question about weapons. Someone was curious about what was your service rifle and what did you think of it?
Car 15.
Car 15. Okay.
Yeah, I liked it. Mine worked fine. I went to the arms room and I got a Swedish K, and I carried it on one mission. That's the picture they took of me in the truck. I was guarding that big shrimp. That was an assault shrimp, and I was guarding him.
Big ass shrimp.
Yeah. I carried it on one mission, and with those magazines, that was just too much. And I went back to the Car 15. I just carried that. That was just a profile thing.
I can imagine that probably didn't have the stopping power you were used to or wanted out there.
Well, the reason they had them was for trail watching and stuff like that because they had a silencer that went on it, but I never got my hands on the silencer. But Top told me that and they did, because I remember seeing it. They had a little leather ring that was in the chamber that kept the bolt, when it was sliding forward, quiet. Just left enough out there for the pin to strike the round. But with that and those big ass long magazines, that was just too much to carry. That's too much extra weight. If I'm gonna carry weight, I'm gonna carry my web gear with all the magazines I can carry on it.
Yeah, and not to mention you being an RTO and that weight, you got to really.
Well, I wasn't always an RTO. I'm a senior scout too. I was point man.
Oh shit! Wow.
I walked point and senior RTO. I had two jobs. If I wasn't a senior RTO, I was walk point.
What did you think of walking point? I mean, you're saving everybody's ass. What's that like?
Well, it's not that you're saving everybody's ass. You're making sure that everybody doesn't get hurt. I guess that's saving everybody's ass, but you're saving your ass too.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody getting hurt for something that I missed. So I didn't miss anything. That's just as clear as that. I didn't miss anything.
Damn.
Gary will tell you I was pretty good point man.
Oh, every man I've spoke to, you even the guys that weren't in Vietnam all speak very, very highly of you. I mean, in fact, in legendary status, I should add.
Well, I don't know where they get all this legendary stuff from, because the only thing I did any different than anybody else did is I went out on a team with somebody that could write a book, and I had a catchy name. That's all it is. Gary could write a book, and I had a catchy name, Mother Rucker.
There's a little more to it, but I'll go with
There's guys that's done so much more than I ever thought about doing that you guys don't hear about.
Speaking of that, there was one question. Did you happen to know the legendary Patrick Tadina or Laszlo Rebel? I
didn't know Rabel, no, but I knew Tadina. I knew Tad. I met Tad before. When Mary jumped, Mary's husband was Mikey Hines from N Company LRRPs, 173rd. And Mikey died, and Herd and I got together. And in 2009, Tad was her jump master at Fort Benning, and she jumped. And they spread Mikey's ashes. Wow. And that was in 2009. And then her and I hooked up after that. She's up there in the house now.
That's amazing, jumping with the ashes. That's I think they did that with Billy Wall, but that's really cool. Wow. What a lead, jumping out of airplanes.
I've been on several ash delivering free falls.
Wow. What a way to honor a brother and a fellow veteran. Amazing. We had a question about someone was asking about Billy Walkabout and then the Kingsmen and how well they supported y'all.
The Kingsmen, none better. If the Kingsmen put you in, they came to get you, and if other people wouldn't come to get you, they would. Bill Meacham, Wild Bill Meacham, was him, and those guys were just. I'm trying to think of one's name now, and
W.T. Grant, Dave Poley.
W.T. Grant, yeah, Mr. Poley and Dave Poley and W.T. Grant.
Damn. Yeah, it sounded like from the way the guys talk about it in the books, there was no better for, like you said, if your butt was in the frying pan to get you out of there quick and safe as they could.
Yeah, Bill was a hoot, boy. Wild Bill Meacham lived right close to me here. I saw him for years after that. He retired right here in Blanchard, Louisiana, just up the road from me until he died. Now his wife still lives up there. I just talked to her last month, Carol.
We were just speaking to a SOG man yesterday who's over in Louisiana, and I'm blanking on where he is at, but he was up at CCN in 71. Damn, I wish I could remember where he was at. He might be near you. There was I was reading one book, and I had don't know why I didn't remember this, but was there an incident when you were, I don't know if you were flying in a helicopter or what, but it mentions that you and I think the CO at one point in time destroyed a 2-ton truck in the A-Shaw and accidentally ended up in the plane to jars.
We ended up someplace, but I don't know what you're talking about. Destroying it. I don't know where that came from. I don't remember destroying the truck, but we did. Fadley and me and the CO, and I don't know why we were doing it, but we went flying one day and flew way up to Dong Ha, and we refueled at Dong Ha. We went northwest and kept going and kept going and kept going. And we got out to this one area and we circled for about 5 minutes. And that's all we did. And then we flew back. I don't know what they was doing on the radios. And I don't know why we were out there, but that's what we did. And flew back. And we're coming back. We flew back over Quezon. And I remember seeing the C-130 that was crashed down there on the runway. At the end of the runway, it was all burned up. And then we went back, but I never knew why we did that. Fadley and I was out. I went with Fadley because we were going for an overflight. And we went and did our overflight, and then the CO said, we got something else to go do. And we were just along for the ride. And I don't know why we went up there. The operations NCO was with us. Gonzalez, I think was his name. I don't remember. No, not Gonzalez. Rodriguez. I don't remember. You know, when you get old, it goes.
Little CRS.
Yeah.
I was and I was flipping through Mr. Gary's book, and I had forgotten. I've spoken to some Force Recon guys who did some river recon, and didn't you and Mr. Gary actually do a few river overwatches a time or two, or maybe one time?
Oh yeah. We overwatched Songbo River for a paymaster is the same guy, paymaster and mail carrier for the NVA. That was supposed to, intelligence said he was supposed to be coming down that river. We sat on that riverbank waiting for him and had our pre-plot set up. He damn near got by us. That son of a bitch sneaked by us right under our noses in that. But we got him. He went on down, and Clausen called in the damn pre-plots, and why they did a spot. They did a spotting round first, and then did all the pre-plots right behind it. But he saw that, and he started to bail off in the water, but then they bracketed him. So I guess we got him. I don't know. We saw him crawl up on the bank, but I don't know what condition he was in.
I can't imagine he was too good at that point in time.
No, nobody got paid. That's for sure.
there you go then. Jeez,
they didn't get their mail in that pay that month.
I was curious in reading these books about the LRRPs and the Rangers and what the job of a belly man entailed. Did you ever do that?
Yeah. Well, it entailed rigging a chopper. You had to learn how to rig a chopper for rappelling, which Sergeant Burnell taught us. And you had to know how to hook up people. You had to hook them up and put them on the skid and put them down in.
Wow, man, I can imagine. Hairy
I was just
times.
thinking of Julian Dedman. Yeah, he's the reason that they told us to stop April 23rd when we got struck by lightning. That was at 3:43 in the evening. By the way, I know the exact time because I wrote a letter home to my mom, and I told her the time because my watch had stopped. It was broke and it stopped exactly that time. That's what time we got struck by lightning, because I still had my watch on my lapel. And the nurses and them brought me my watch after they cut my tigers off me. Oh, we was laid in the hospital begging them, me and Gary begging them not to cut off our tigers because we just got them and they were brand new.
Oh man.
We had just got brand new tigers, and they were American tigers, and they fit right.
And of course, there's no amount of work you can do at once you're in a hospital and the hospital cuts them because they find the perfect way of absolutely
Oh man,
ruining.
when you go in and they put you on that gurney, they start at the boots and through the laces. That's where one person starts, and the other one starts down your sleeves, and they meet in the middle.
And then you're naked as a jaybird.
Naked as a jaybird. But I wasn't caring if I was naked as a jaybird or not, because my left ankle was hurting me so bad. Because that was right. Gary was sitting right next.
Oh, I'll get to that, Jason. That's a good question. I think it was Jed. I think it was Captain Eklund. If that's the correct pronunciation, I think it is. There he is.
I'm back. Gary, the rucksack was right there, and he was sitting on it. And when it exploded, when that concussion grenade went off, it propelled him off the hill. And I went up and down, and that was just a bad day at Blue Rock.
Just sling you like a rag doll.
Clausen was right in front of me, and I think he was standing up. I don't remember. But when the concussion grenade went off, he caught the full blast of it down his left side. And he was kind of like paralyzed, like he'd had a stroke or something down his left side. You could see his face was sagging and everything. And Sowers and Hillman were the only two that really weren't down. But as a team, we were out of it. Yeah. There was four of us down. Gary got propelled over. Gary didn't know what was going on. They brought him back up the hill. He didn't even know where I was, because when he wrote the book, he left me in the jungle. If you read the book, he didn't extract me off that mission. He didn't know where I was. I was laying in the gurney. I was laying in the gurney on top of him when they put us in the chopper. And then they rolled me out of the gurney, handed me an F-16, and put me up against the bulkhead behind the pilot, and I was watching the other side, down the hill on the other side of the ship. And Gary was laying there, and he was out of it.
I mean, it's a wonder all of y'all. I mean, I can't believe there were two unscathed, and I can't believe none of y'all died, to be honest. I mean, jeez.
Oh, I know. It's a miracle. Like I said, it was only 6 or 8 inches that kept me alive. Because if I would have been touching that rucksack, I would be toast. It was just that much space saved my ass. Because the handset, as soon.
Yeah, I was literally about to say he had the handset. He's looking at it, and it's literally the not melted, burn up and fried. There you are.
Yeah, I'm back.
It just disintegrates in your hand.
Yeah, it just disintegrated. There was just a wire off the radio that was still there, and my hand was all black from the carbon that the handset's made out of. And I thought when I first saw it, I thought it was burnt, because I was looking at it like this, and it was all crumped up, and that was from the electricity, and it was black, and I thought it was burnt, and that was the carbon all over my hand, and I could see past it, and I had depth perception. But everything was different shades of gray. And then I realized that I didn't have any lung air in my lungs. and I was at the end of a scream. I think it was a scream, but I didn't have any air. And then when I got that breath, I felt a white hot band around my waist because it was dead from the waist down and alive from the waist up. And my hand hurt. My ankle hurt. I couldn't feel my ankle at the time. I didn't feel my ankle till we was on the way in the chopper on the way back. And then my hand quit hurting, and then I could feel my ankle. But my ankle was next to Gary's rucksack when it exploded, so he kind of jammed it up pretty good for a couple of months.
Every time I hear y'all talk about, I'm at a loss for words. It's just a miracle.
Well, I'm feeling better about it now. But last June when we had the LRRA rally at Branson, I kind of got on Gary and a bunch of them because I told that story 9 times the first day and 7 times the second day, and I had one guy come around wanting me to tell it again, and I just didn't want to tell it again because it was fucking with my head, you know. I got a little indignant with him about it. Didn't get indignant. I just told him it was fucking with my head, and I didn't want to do it anymore.
I can understand, and I can imagine. I mean, hell. That many times in a day or two period, hell, that wear out anybody. Especially
People don't think that every time I do this and I'm telling the story, I'm actually in my mind's eye, I'm seeing that over again. The grayness stacked up in the jungle and my hand like it was, and that does something up here. And I think I'm doing pretty good after all these years for it. But
you are.
That's a hell of a memory.
It is. I mean, you.
I'm gonna tell you what one of my best memories of Vietnam is.
Please.
And
do.
Gary was there too, so he can back this up. When we got intelligence about Firebase Jack was going to get hit by some sappers.
Oh yeah.
And they put us in the daytime on the Firebase Jack heavy team, 18 men, 3 6-man teams, and I was point. My citation says I was RTO, but I wasn't. I was a senior scout. I was point on the right-hand echelon. And anyway, we walked out of there at night. And we're not out of there 100 yards. And I see a fucking straight line going through the jungle. I mean, we're in grass that's vertical, and I'm seeing a horizontal line in the dark. Well, it was a combo wire. So a couple of guys go and check it that way. It was empty. And so we started following it back this way. And that night, they call us on the radar and say, stop. There's some enemy going to walk across the front of you. They had ground radar back at the Firebase Jack, and they could see them. It was low rolling hills. They could see them, and then they'd disappear, and they'd see them again. They said, these guys are going to walk right in front of you. So 3 teams hunkered down. There they go, right across the front of us. We let them keep going. That wasn't our mission at that time. They had them on the radar. So we go, and then radar calls says they lost them. So anyway, we travel through the night, and then we find an old French, I call it a French outpost. It was a French berm that was triangle shaped. That was about 50 feet by 50 feet by 50 feet. And we got in the middle of it, and it'd grown up all around it. That's where we was hiding. That was our hide for the day. And I'm laying there looking through the binoculars at the direction we'll be traveling. And I see a flashing up in the trees. And I called Gary. I said, Gary, look at this. What do you think? So he calls Clausen. And then Clausen calls Marcy. Marcy was the overall team leader. Marcy's looking and said, good job. It was a commo wire up in the tree. And they had used one of our C ration cans and tied their wires to it. But the inside of the can was shining. It was green on the outside. The inside was shining. Every time the wind blew it, the sun hit it. And it was shining. So Marcy calls in 155's direct fire over us, and they pound that with some rounds for the day. So later that, it gets dark, and we're sitting there waiting. And we move out. So we're moving out, and we're headed across the big open field towards the tree line where they were pounding. And as we're approaching some of the trees and stuff, I look down and I see where the dew had settled, and somebody had just walked through there and disturbed the dew. And I stopped him. I said, look, they called Marcel and was, look here. So The Gooks had just gone through there. So what we did is we looked and we saw that trail went to another trail. That was a trail, and there was another trail over there in a creek. So we set up an inverted V ambush in the point head, inside the where the trail split, and lay down. Everybody puts out their claymores, and we're laying there. These fuckers start walking by us. We can see them. We can see their heads bobbing as they're going by. One group would go by, another group. And then I'm over there by Marcy, and I'm kind of looking down over his shoulder, and there's some down in the creek, and one's walking right towards his claymore, and he's bending over. And I'm looking at Marcy. I'm looking over Marcy's shoulder at an angle, and I see this guy reach down like this to get the claymore. About that time, Marcy goes, clack, clack. Boom! I swear that when he did that, I saw the bottom half of somebody go flipping back. I swear I did. Just for an instant. And that's, anyway, make a long story short. We blew all of our claymores. We didn't fire a shot. We started throwing grenades and calling in artillery and gunships. We called in, we called for an AC-47, and we had some Cobras. Cobras ran, fired some rockets and miniguns. AC-47 comes over. Who's got the strobe light? Rucker does. Okay. Put it in my booty cap. I'm in the center of the circle, holding up that strobe light. And I was the aiming stake for the AC-47. And when he started firing, I'm laying there and I'm looking up. And those rounds do like this. They come out of the barrel and they go way over here. And they curve way around like this. Then they come back. And as they get right about here, you can hear the gun going. And then you hear all the million bees attacking. Sounds like a million bees attacking. All around you. Shit just getting tore up. But laying there watching that on the ground is a memory that I will never forget. And that's one of the most exciting parts of my life that I've ever had. Watching that gunship do that and being the aiming stake for it, I'm going to tell you. That was pretty cool.
Every fifth round, a tracer, too. I can't imagine what that must have looked like.
It looked like a laser.
Oh, yeah. Like a dragon spitting fire, literally. Like off the magic dragon. Holy hell.
But boy, when they're doing that curving, you just wondering, well, is that going to keep curving? Is it going to miss me?
Oof.
But it does. So they know what they're doing. And then I'm doing an air show with the people I skydive with here at Barksdale Air Force Base back in 2002, 2001, something like that. And we're jumping into Barksdale. So we get to go to the Officers Club Annex. We didn't get to go in Officers Club. They had us in the Annex. They ding the bell if you come in with your hat on and stuff like that. You got to buy a round. Well, I knew all this. So I step up to the door with my hat on. And I'm looking around. And I haven't stepped through the threshold yet. And I got my hat on. And I see people turn around looking at me. And I just grinned and reached up, took off my hat, stuck it in the back of my belt, and stepped on through. And then I told the other ones, I said, take your hat off before you go in or you will buy a round. Because they didn't know tradition like that. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I start talking to this one guy. And he said, I flew AC-47s in Vietnam. I said, you did? He said, yeah, I was a first lieutenant. I said, you ever do Firebase Jack? And he thought for a minute. He says, I got Firebase Jack in my flight log. He was the pilot of the first AC-47 that I was the aiming stake for. He was he retired as a one-star general. Peyton Cole was his name.
What a small world. Holy
Peyton
cow.
Cole I was raised on Air Force bases my whole life, until I was an adult. And he retired here at Barksdale, and that's where we're retired at, and I've run across him then. I've seen him several times since then.
That is amazing. Oh, that's... Damn. I'm about to get to y'all's questions. Those will be great for him. I'm not going to hold him too long because it's his birthday today, but he said he'd come back on anyways, and we're lucky we're getting him this time.
I'm back.
There you are.
You know what caused that one? Spam call.
I've been hit with a few since we've been on as well. Actually, I got mine silenced, thank God.
Yeah.
We've got a few good questions here as we get towards the end here. We're a little over an hour now. Flew by. One of the viewers was saying it seems like being a LRRP is a young man's game. Were there any old timers running the jungle still when you were there?
Burnell was an old timer. In my book, he was 30 years old, and so was Contact Johnson. They were running missions, and they were in their 30s. So, yeah. Wow. And
30 years
Sergeant Lockett ended up, when he got over there, he was our platoon sergeant, and he taught hand-to-hand combat at the Ranger School for 18 years. Milton Lockett.
Milton Lockett.
Mm-hmm.
Writing that name down.
Yeah, he died a couple of years ago. He passed.
Very sad to hear that.
Yeah, he was a real good guy.
Damn.
He apologized to me for sending us on that mission so many times. And I told him there was nothing you could do about it. It was just a job. Because he knew we didn't want to go on it.
What a kind man. I'm sure he was grateful for your accepting of his apologies, but like you said, he was just doing his job, you know.
Oh yeah.
One of the viewers would like to hear more what it was like to be an RTO, considering it seems like you were the lifeline and then one of the most trusted teammates on the ground.
Yeah, that was a good job because what I liked about being RTO is you knew everything that the team leader knew.
In the know.
In the know. You knew everything the team leader knew. And being a team leader, you have to know things like when it's starting to get dicey, when you call them and tell them, warm up the birds, we may need them, you know. Don't take off yet, but just get ready. We have movement. Knowing stuff like that just by what's being said on the radio helps an RTO to get things in line for what you need. You know, if somebody's getting in contact, you need to get the extraction birds going. You need to get the guns going, gunships going, all the support that they might need, and put the reaction force on standby, and blah, 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 just so on and so forth. Yeah, being a senior RTO, you have to know everything the team leader knows, and being on radio relay too, it's the same thing. If you hear a team out there and they need something or they're fixing to need something, you have to know beforehand in your mind by what's going on. You can set it up for them before it happens, if you know what I mean. Like, you can call ahead and have the birds. If you hear that they have movement, you can call ahead and have them strike up the birds and get them ready. Put everybody on alert, you know.
And being calm and collected, I imagine, as a RTO is vital too when you're talking to birds and such, you know.
Well, you know, I try to stay calm, but I would get up a couple octaves sometimes. But John Looney was the coolest guy in a firefight I've ever heard in my life. John Looney was so calm. You'd hear people screaming around him, and he'd be sitting here talking just like we're doing. Just like we're doing. He'd just be calm as a cucumber. I don't know how he did it.
There's Mr. John right there running with his radio, actually.
Oh, yeah.
In a firefight. A damn good picture right there. I'll need to write that down. I
never did figure out how guys had time to take pictures of firefights.
Mr. Larry's got a set of 4 on there, and I smile. I'm like, damn, he's got a lot of cojones taking a break to smile and not return fire right there. But then I see the other ones. He's returning fire and actually getting a jam out. So, this was a popular question. How close were you guys getting to the demilitarized zone in Laos and Cambodia?
That last mission, when they put us in Laos, and we had to walk back out. That minefield was in Laos.
Oh, God, what a
They
terrible.
inserted us right in a minefield, and we had to pick our way out of it before we could go hide. That was at Atbai Mountain. That was April 20th, 1969.
What a terrible.
That was right after that. That was right after that picture was taken of me sitting in the helicopter that Larry took.
I've got that photo actually. Hey, oh, here it is. Yep. Labeled April 20th. Let me pull that one up. That's
on the way. That's on the way to the Ashall Valley. And my hat started to fly off, and I was reaching for it, and I saw him take the picture, and I just grinned at him real quick while I was reaching for my hat. I wasn't happy about going to the Ashall Valley, like everybody thinks.
I was about to say you can convince you can pull it off thinking you were happy, because that's a damn good smile going where you're going.
I do that to everybody. I still do that. When people take my picture, I'll just look at them and grin.
I like that. Oh man, damn, that's
like this.
Oh shit. What? Yeah, we were just talking about Cobras, and did you have A1s? Well, you had Cobras, but did you have Sky Raiders come in and help you guys out at times?
I've never used them or on one of our missions, but I've seen them up there. Teams use them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, we had access to them. Yeah, we had access to anything we needed.
Excellent.
We had F-100s, F-4s.
Yeah.
It'd be F-100s, F-4s, A-4s, A-1s, whatever was on station when somebody needed something is what we got.
Man, that's got to be a good feeling knowing.
Yeah. That was a good feeling too, knowing that if you called for something, you could get just about anything you wanted that was in the area that could get to you.
Yeah,
if they could get to you in time.
And you being at the controls of it right there as the RTO, that's got to be like a hell of a power trip, knowing you got control of thunder like that coming in.
No, it's not a power trip. It's just part of the job. That's just one of our. That's just one of our tools. Just like everybody thinks being a paratrooper is such a great thing. It's just another way to get to the battle.
True.
Just a quicker way to get to the battle.
That's Mr. Larry was talking about. He had never been in a helicopter before until his his first operation, and he was like, "This is gonna take a minute to get used to." I thought that was pretty damn funny. Everybody's saying, were you in?
When we was at Bragg, we did helicopter jumps at Bragg and at Campbell. So, well, he wasn't there with us. He came along
later on down the line. Someone was asking, were you still with the guys when the infamous Captain Shepard situation occurred?
No, that was just before I got there.
Roger that. Yeah, that's.
I guess that was. I don't know what month I got there in August, and that was just before I got there. I remember that when I got there, they were talking about Sturgill getting killed, so he was the last guy killed before I got there.
Wow, man, I bet that had to be. Was it? I mean, were there anybody on edge or snooping around or anything since that incident happened, or was it just business as usual after that toe pop or explosion or whatever incident happened?
Well, I wasn't there then yet, but they said there was CID in the company after that, but I don't know who they were, where they were.
Who during time people were talking about Mr. Gary, you, Zoe, Burnell, and Buford and Eklund and such. Someone was curious, who stands out in your time with the LRRPs and the Rangers as someone that maybe doesn't get the recognition that they should, or doesn't get spoken about or in the household name like you were speaking about earlier, that maybe should?
The whole company.
Yeah, true that.
We had a good company. Everybody knew what they were doing. there was a few things that happened, but in general, we had a good company. And Zochek, I don't think Zochek was, him and Marcy were two outstanding team leaders. But I think Zochek was probably Zochek was my hero. That's the only way I can say it. I remember I was on radio relay after I got there, and Zochek was up on some ridge someplace, and they had gone into a bunker. They had found a bunker complex, and it was evacuated. Nobody was there. So they picked them out one way back in the back and hid in it. And while they were hiding in it, they were looking down the hill, and here comes a whole column of NVA and their flashlights and stuff right on it, occupying the bunkers. So they waited until they started coming in the door of their bunker, and then they fired them up. And then they ran. And I remember that they were running up that ridge, and the NVA were chasing them. And I think Bill Meacham was the one that extracted them. But I remember on the radio him talking on the radio, and they were running. He said, "We're running up the ridge." He said, "They're still following us." And when Bill got there, it was kind of a horseshoe ridge. I think this is the same mission. It was a kind of a horseshoe ridge. And Bill said that when he got there, the whole horseshoe ridge lit up with anti-aircraft.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But they got him out. The Gooks chased him, but they got him out. Meacham got him. But that was something because he was in the bunker, and they were coming in the bunkers with him, and they fired him up and then run past him and run up the ridge, and they were chasing him up the ridge. They went to higher ground and got out. They got extracted, and then they worked over the ridge real good. That's just one of those stories. But Zochek was a good team leader. He was my hero.
Wow. Every person I've spoken to that was around that gentleman said he's a Ranger's Ranger and a LRRP's LRRP. He was a hell of a man.
Well, he was a hero too. When he died after the Vietnam War, he was driving a diesel truck, and he lost his brakes or something coming down a hill, and there was a school bus full of kids there, and he run his truck off the cliff to keep from hitting them. And
what a man, Jesus, Lord have
mercy. And you know what? If anybody that knows him wouldn't expect any less of him, because that's just the kind of guy he was. He was serious and he was funny. He could be funny, but he had a serious look on his face.
Oh, he looks like a serious customer. That's for sure.
A cool dude.
He sounds like he was. One of the questions, we've got two more, unless some other ones come in, because I'm going to let you go.
I'm going to tell you something. I just thought of something. I was out with Bill Marcy one time. And I pulled my guard. It was my turn. I pulled my guard, woke up the next guy, and I laid down and went to sleep. All of a sudden, Bill slaps me in the side of the head, and I wake up, and he's got a fucking 45 pointed between my eyes. I looked at him. I said, "I'm not on guard." He said, "You're snoring."
Snoring.
Yeah, man. I can't lay on my back. If I lay on my back, I snore. I have to lay on my side.
I did not know that until reading the book, that laying on your stomach was the surefire way to fix the snoring issue.
Yeah, lay on your side or your stomach. That's how you fix your snoring. At that time, I was laying back on my rucksack, so I was
cutting wood big time.
Scared the shit out of me.
I can only imagine. Hell, what a wake up! Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I'm not on guard. That's the first thing I said. He laughed about that when we got back. He said, first thing he said was, "You wasn't on guard." I said, "I wasn't." He said, "But you was snoring." Well, it happened 6 times. There's nothing I can do about it. Rolled over on my side.
When new guys would come in, Mr. Larry mentioned it, and Mr. Ken Miller mentioned it. Did you ever do any recruiting for the LRRPs or the Rangers when you got short on time?
Yeah, my last 30 days down there was June of '69, in all of June of '69, me and Ken Miller and myself were down there at the rear in Benoit recruiting, getting orders cut for guys that had the right MOSs. And Ken would get up there and give him the spiel, little tough man.
Oh, he was from all sounds. He sounds like he was a tough bastard.
He was.
I mean, woof.
Ken Miller was something. Him and I had about just a couple of days before I was supposed to go to the 90th replacement and leave. And him and I were walking up the main road right in front of the NCO club that was at Benoit Army. And rockets started coming in. The first one hit right behind the berm in the perimeter. The second one hit in the middle of the parade field. And the third one hit in the parade field. And the fourth one went right through the front door of the NCO club. Damn. And Ken spoke Chinese, so he was talking to all those girls up there all the time when he was up there. So he knew them. And he ran back that way. And I looked at him. I said, Ken, I just got a couple of days left. I asked him about this one day. I said, Ken, you remember us walking up the road in the rocket attack? He said, no. And I said, we jumped down in the ditch. And I looked at you. I said, I only got a couple of days left. They're still trying to kill me. And when I said that, yeah, I remember that. But he went back and he said one of the girls that he knew had got killed. And that's what he told me. That's what he told me when he got back to the hooch. But I just went back to the hooch and grabbed a bottle of whiskey, took a couple of drinks, and went to sleep.
It's amazing to see how intelligent and him speaking Vietnamese and all Mr. Ken could do. It sounded like he was a hell of a guy to be with as well. I mean, damn.
Well, he spoke Chinese.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, he spoke Chinese. He speaks Chinese. He teaches Chinese. He teaches English to Chinese kids in San Francisco.
What a guy! What a guy!
I guess he's still doing that. He's as old as the rest of us now. So.
Somebody was curious about Mr. Billy Walkabout, and did you pick up any good point man skills from Mr. Billy?
No, I never went out with Billy. We were just real good friends. Mm-hmm. Billy, the last time let's see. Yeah, I saw him after that. I was home on leave when the November 20th mission happened, and I didn't see him. I saw him. He was gone for a while, and then he came back, and he was all fucked up in the head. And he thought he was the only survivor. He didn't know Gary and him even survived.
Wow.
But
yeah, he had a tough go of it.
Yeah, he did.
Sounds like. Yeah. There's a good picture.
People, though. He was good people.
Yeah.
That's in the company area there at Camp Eagle. That picture.
One of my favorites. That's a good photo of you two. Wonderful photo.
Yeah.
Many moons ago. All righty, guys. Again, it's his birthday, and we've had him an hour and a half, and maybe we can talk him into coming back. And if y'all get some questions together, we might can get him to come back. But Mr. Ron, is there anything you would like to say before we get ready to shut down for the day?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I broke the cork on my bottle of Warrior Spirits. So now I got to go in and dig the cork out to finish drinking it. This is raspberry flavor, by the way. Some of these guys from SOG and stuff, you ought to tell them about the Long Range Reconnaissance Association. And we had the big rally the first week in June at Branson. And all the LRRPs and LRRs come to that, and it's a hoot.
Someone in the comments was bringing up the someone just told me I should come to the reunion in Branson.
Tell the SOG guys. Tell the SOG guys to come too.
Yeah, and that was another thing. You guys actually had contact with SOG guys, FOB1 guys.
Well, yeah, we went over there and learned. We went over and used their tower for training and for rappelling and some ambushing tactics and stuff over there, and just bullshitting.
That's excellent. I always like hearing when you guys would cross paths and such. Did they
Well,
ever help?
we used to get tiger fatigues and stuff from them.
I was just fixing to ask, didn't y'all get some unis from them at one point?
Yeah, yeah. We most of the time it was Vietnamese sizes, but they had some American. They had some American sizes. We get them from, but that's where we got our new ones from. That they had to cut off of us. Those were brand new from Special Forces.
Damn.
We had just got those. That's why we didn't want them to.
Perfect set ruined.
Yeah.
Damn. All righty. Well, I know you need to get that cork out of there to where you can enjoy your spirits. Maybe if we get some questions up and you get some time again, we'd love to have you back on if you'd be open to it.
Oh, I'm open to it.
Well, that's
just so it don't interfere with any. As long as it don't interfere with hunting and fishing, I'm good to go.
Well, you just made everybody in this chat and who's going to watch this very happy to know you'd be welcome to come back. So we'll hold you that, and I'll stay in touch with you on that.
Okay.
All righty, guys. We're going to shut her down. Everybody is saying happy birthday, and they hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I wish you the same. And we're going to go ahead and shut her down, guys. Mr. Ron, thank you for joining us, and I'll be in touch with you and hope you have a good rest of your day.
I'm sure planning on it. I'm going to fill this right up.
All righty, guys.